it. I'm gonna give what's in my heart, and if I get nothing back, I'm okay.
I'm not okay with that. I'm sorry, no. Nope. We gotta be flowering each other. Like, we gotta be watering each other's plants. Like, this is no. And I learned that from past experiences where I would be the person just giving, and I would receive nothing, and I would be content with that. Never again. That's how you lose yourself. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's just a little awkward being back here after like 2 weeks of just creative block. And I mean that in like the most annoying way, because I have ideas. I have a lot of things that I want to do for the channel and share, but I don't know, I've just been creatively blocked for the past like week or so. Anyway, I had a few friends link this podcast to me. This is the Shan Booty Lovers and Friends podcast, and in this one they're talking about what a submissive woman in a relationship does for her man. Okay, now I've only seen like clips of this podcast out of context, to be fair, so what I did see was really cringe. What I want to do with this video is, watch through the whole podcast. My mouth. I'm having trouble with words. Okay. So this segment is actually almost 50 minutes long. But what I want to do is give her a fair opportunity to explain her out of context clips, because those were wild, okay? They were wild. But let's start off with the podcast. This is the little introduction that she has, and then it goes into the whole podcast. So let's go.
Question: do you consider yourself to be submissive?
That volume is very low. I'm sorry.
Question: do you consider yourself to be submissive in romantic relationships? And I mean like actually submissive.
I love my dog. I love my family. But like, as far as like the closest love I think of having a child is like the love I feel for my partner. And it's scary for me to think that it'll change once I have the child. Because we've had conversations where I'm like, I don't want that to change. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to...
I'm feeling a little weird already, just her putting her partner in the space of like a child that she cares for or she will care for in the future. But let's just let her continue that point. I'm not sure where it's going.
Because we've had conversations where I'm like, I don't want that to change. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want your needs to not be met because now I have a little person that's going to take up more of my time and is going to need more than you.
So in your romantic partnership, you baby, you are a servant to, you are a lover, you want to be a step ahead. Why are you laughing?
These are your words. It sounds insane.
You see, like, even she kind of feels like it's a little insane. So at least, we're on the same page here where it's like, but are you sure though?
But I know it is my words, but it sounds crazy. Relationships and submission and being submissive is like, it's like an 8 count. Know that dance. You better know that 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, dishes clean. 2, laundry.
Jazz.
Girl, but why is the 8 count chores? I don't understand.
Jasmine Brown, aka Watch Jazzy, is here to break down the art of submission and why she thinks it's deeply misunderstood. So let's get into it. Welcome to
Lovers and Friends. I'ma take you on a trip, baby. I don't pretend. I said, lovers and friends. I'ma hold you down to the end. I said,
hi there, lovers
I'm sorry, I just gotta interrupt because that is a really cute theme song and I love it.
Lovers and friends, welcome to Lovers and Friends, the podcast. My name is Shan Boudram. I am a public-facing sex and relationship educator with an educational background in sexology, psychology, and journalism. I've been working in the space for 15 years.
It's wild the way that she says that because unconsciously, I've been watching Shan Booty for like 10 years. And I haven't even noticed because like this whole time I haven't even like been subscribed to any of her stuff, but I don't know, she's a very interesting person in this space and I do appreciate her. It's interesting. I don't even listen to this podcast, but I might start.
So if you're not familiar, here's how this podcast works. There are people who I follow online or that I come across that I am nosy. You know, I want to know what's happening in their sex life, in their love life. I want to know what's top of mind for them. And so I DM those people and I'm like, I have this podcast. We talk about sex, love, and relationships. If you could choose any topic under the sun in the intimacy universe, what would that topic be? And usually when I approach people, because I follow them, you know, I have an idea of what they're gonna pick in terms of sex, love, or relationships. I also have an idea of the tone of the episode that I'm probably gonna get out of that person. So Jasmine Brown, AKA Watch Jazzy, is someone that I've followed, I couldn't even tell you for how long, maybe 10 years. From what I've seen of her brand, Jasmine and Submissive Woman didn't really seem to align. And it was a moment. And I know when I have those that I am onto something and that furthermore, there is work that I have to do and that this person is graciously giving me the opportunity to do a lot of learning and unlearning through them. And I want to take them up on that offer. And that's exactly what this episode is all about, because I'm going to be honest, when I hear the term submissive woman, this is what I assume.
My name is Monica, and I live to
no.
please my husband, John.
Oh no.
We have a traditional marriage,
Not this couple. Oh my gosh.
and I'm the man, and I make the rules around the house.
So, I like my husband to pick up my clothes because I like pleasing him.
Anybody who's been with a woman knows they don't know what the heck to wear, right?
Yeah, I would say
Homie, are you serious? Like, this is a situation where like she's the Barbie, he's the Ken, and then like they go and stand in the closet and he's like, I want you to wear this, baby. Okay, that's
98% of my day evolves around my husband.
So in knowing that I was holding on to some limiting beliefs around women who identify as submissive, I wanted to redefine and broaden my definition. So
Fair.
I had to just Google what actually is a submissive romantic partner. And after coming across way too many cringy definitions, I did find this one that's simple and clear from my friend Hafiz, who is one half of the men's empowerment brand, The Roommates.
Most people will agree that submitting is accepting the authority or will of another person.
Yes.
Sub means under, right? Submarine is underwater, you know, subpar is,
I got you.
is under.
Yes.
Mission. I view submission as coming under someone's mission.
Okay.
And it's a choice.
Yes. I like that.
Slavery is forced
Yes.
submission. Submission coming under someone's mission is a choice.
So with judgment out of the way,
as cringy as it was to hear him put it in that way, I understand, because by definition that's how he's defining it, because sub, yes, under, and then someone's mission, understood. That's fair, Shan. Fair. I don't like the Roommates that much, but yes.
or as much as possible, because as I edited this episode, I definitely was like, oh, that's a Judy moment right there. But with judgment out of the way as much as possible, given where I'm at today, I was able to invite a lot more curiosity into this conversation, and that's what you're about to listen to next. Someone who just wanted to know, what does it actually mean to be submissive to your man in a relationship? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What is your day-to-day routine? Obviously, what does your sex life look like as a result of this dynamic? And Jasmine was, again, gracious enough to sit with me and to answer these questions.
And get some very clippable clips.
And I'm really grateful. And so let's get into it.
Let's.
Oh, no, I
I know.
I don't know why you're feeling away.
Why? What do you mean? Look at you.
I should be nervous.
No, why?
Because if I ask stupid questions, if I step on your
Never.
toes.
Never. I'm so nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna unravel today? Even though I know.
What are we gonna unpack? Because when people come to this podcast, they have a topic in mind, but they don't realize that the reason why that topic is on their mind is because they either are conflicted with it, they're trying to come to terms with it, or they're having issues with it in their current life. So you're gonna unpack some stuff here that I'm not sure if you wanted to unpack, but you did it in front of the internet, boo. This is it's brave in a way, so I have to commend her, but at the same time it's like, you didn't have to share all this.
Know that everything we talk about is going to be needed for people to hear, especially from me, because you said I would never think you would be like that.
I would not.
And that's interesting to me.
So, you know why? Because when I know of you is you've always been a hustler. You've always been a boss. You constantly reinvent yourself. So that's what I said. My first and foremost comment to you was I've known about you for over a decade now.
Oh, thank you.
That to be said, my perception of you has been like career oriented, me first, not in a negative way, but like kind of like that person who's like, I'm no good to you if I'm not good to me.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that, me first. I'm not even like that. I think that it seems like that because of how I hustle, but even when I hustle, it's not even for me.
All right, so let's bring it back to the basics. What is the art of being submissive?
I saw that there was a cut there. I'm wondering where that was going, how she was going to elaborate, because I'm very curious about how her work, she's saying that even that she's not doing it for herself, she does it for others. So I'm very curious about where that was going, but I digress. I guess they went somewhere else with it instead.
So let's bring it back to the basics. What is the art of being submissive?
First step is get with somebody who wants what you have to offer. I think love and submission is
I don't want to be judgy right off the bat, but that felt weird because she is saying essentially that it's only about the other person wanting what she has to offer. And I feel like that should go both ways, but I'm sorry. Before I interrupt her, let her explain.
Fits all. So I can only tell you what offer. I think love and submission is a tailored fit. It's not a one size fits all. So I can only tell you what it means to me. Now for me, it's complete selflessness. I am satisfied in serving. I'm a servant, and I watched my mother serve all my life, and it was rain, sleet, or slow. I think we talked about this on the phone. My mother's love for my father wasn't conditional. It's not my responsibility, but
it's your joy.
It is my joy. I love to see him eating the meal that I cooked. I love seeing him sleep easy. Like every night, like clockwork, I scratch this man's back to sleep.
I understand the meal, and I understand like watching someone who you really love and appreciate sleeping after a long day. Like those are things that I think all people love, but you scratch his back to sleep like that's another level of devotion, and that's wild to me. I understand that she's saying she saw her parents have that same dynamic, but this is it's a little too self-sacrificing for me.
Like every night, like clockwork, I scratch this man's back to sleep. And I know when he's asleep because I can tell when his breathing changes. And some people might think that's psychotic, but that's like, I just know that's when I'm like,
that is a little psychotic, I have to say.
Can stop now, but I find joy in being your rest, and it shouldn't be conditional.
A part of that lack of conditions too means that you do your duty joyfully regardless of what's being done for you.
That's it. I do.
Okay, this can go left very easily, and that's why I don't like this idea that you should place unconditional love on a partner. I don't like that, because I do get what Shan just said. You do your duty to your partner despite like whatever may not be coming back to you, but I don't think that it's healthy to be in a relationship with someone who you're just giving to, and you don't know, maybe they're not giving it back, and there should be a condition placed on your love. You shouldn't just blindly give it, you know? But I'm sorry.
Do your duty joyfully regardless of
Yes.
what's being done for you.
That's it. I do my duty joyfully regardless of what is happening to and for me. You know, now some days I might be more cheerful than others because I have my own stuff going on. You know, and there's times where it's like, I don't even want to say what's going on with me because, again, I know how to deal with me and my pain, you know.
That's even more unhealthy. I can't stop myself from pausing at this point, because that's really, really unhealthy to not be able to confide in your partner when you're not at your best. So what, are you just supposed to lock all of your issues and all of your turmoil inside and never talk through your issues with your partner? That, what? Girl, I'm at a loss.
There's times where it's like, I don't even want to say what's going on with me because, again, I know how to deal with me and my pain. You know, I'll cry in the shower and keep it moving, you know. But in the art of submission for me, because I can't.
Okay, look, I think that everyone should be able to have those moments with themselves, but also have a place where they can feel safe enough to let those comments come out and talk the amount of, you know, whatever is comfortable for you. You're able to talk about it with your partner and not feel like you're just stifling yourself. You know what I mean? Like, some things should be kept to yourself. Of course, you're not gonna run to your partner with every little thing, but this is another extreme. I don't know if I like it.
I speak for everybody, is being joyful about it. You know, that want of, and I think it, not even just a want, the power of knowing that you have the power to make someone's day better. And that's a choice.
And easier.
Yes, better and easier. That's a choice that you have to make. I always make the choice to do it. I like to give. I like to allow my person to lead. They know, especially like when it translates in the bedroom, I like to feel dominated. You know, riding dick ain't always my favorite position because I like.
Bitch, I'm just gonna let her finish that thought. What the fuck?
Like when it translates in the bedroom, I like to feel dominated. You know, riding dick ain't always my favorite position because I like to be taken advantage. Oh my gosh, no, I don't like to be taken advantage of. I like to.
She finished the thought and it just got worse. Girl.
Feel.
That's okay. I like to be degraded.
Yeah.
Those are languages that I like and I accept.
I do, but if I'm comfortable and if I trust you. So just know what that means. Know that dance with your partner. I think of relationships and submission and being submissive is like, it's like an 8 count. Know that dance. You better know that 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, dishes clean. 2, laundry. 3, if you have a long day and you fight in the world, you will never come back and fight me. You will never come back and walk into a space that is not welcoming you.
I understand fully what she is saying. She wants to be that safe space for her partner, but where is the safe space for her? It's only one way. I don't appreciate the thought or the notion that submission is only for the man. It's not, and it shouldn't be. that way. Like, y'all should have a flow, reciprocate. If I'm doing the dishes today, maybe you do the dishes tomorrow. I make dinner, you wash the dishes. You know, it's that type of thing. It's not, I'm gonna have dinner on the table at this time and then I wash the dishes and everything and then I suck you off after. Like, a full service dinner, you know? Or it may be like that. I don't want to put expectations on everyone's relationships based on that label of I'm submissive or I'm dominant. This is just wild to me. It just sounds like she watched her parents and she just wanted to emulate that. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Do you think that this is controversial in some capacity?
Absolutely. To some, it could be enabling. You know, and someone told me one time, they're like, you're enabling him. And I told him how that made me feel. And he was like, of course they're going to say that. They don't have nobody doing that for them.
How did it make you feel?
It made me feel like maybe I am. But at the same time,
there was a cut there again. Like, girl, you have these little moments of clarity, and I wonder if you doubt yourself sometimes in the way that you go about your relationships, because babying someone is not helping them grow in any way. And if that's just what your relationship is going to be, then you guys are always going to stagnate because you're not allowing him any room to grow or improve. He's just being, and you're doing shit for him. So
that's my love. So if you don't understand it, you know, I'm not loving on you for you to get it. That's how I love. And whoever I love is going to get that benefit.
Yes.
There was a time where, you know, women needed men for everything. We couldn't even open up a bank account, you know? And now it's like women are really in their bag where they're like, I have my own business. I'm doing this. I don't need a man for nothing. Like, basically, like, can I be frank? Like, I don't need a nigga for shit. I don't, you know? And
okay. I get the extreme of the independent woman and how you don't need a man for shit, but that shouldn't be the extreme either. Like, this is where we're heading, to the point where it's either I'm a strong woman, I don't need no man, or I have a man and I love him and I want him and I serve him and that's all I do. These two extremes are not good. We need to have some middle ground here.
I can say nothing. Like, basically, like, can I be frank? Like, I don't need a nigga for shit. I don't, you know? And I can say those words, but I want one.
So my brain wants to understand the exchange here. Because,
know,
and this
I'm
could
all
be,
over the
it's
place.
not, no, you're doing great. But because I told you, I'm gonna ask a bunch of stupid questions.
Yeah.
Because
Even
this
Shan's like,
dynamic, I think, like, my relationship with my partner is very egalitarian. Like, we're equals. Like, I don't ever feel like I'm giving for the sake of giving, and I'm not receiving for the sake of receiving. I'm receiving being like, well, I deserve this, and I'm giving being like, you deserve this. So there's that exchange happening.
So you speak on, you're like, you tell him the things that you need?
Yeah.
And the things that you feel like you deserve, you'll say that?
100%.
she is so, like, shocked by this. You see the way that she's asking, like, oh, you tell him what you need? Yes. That's how relationships work. You're supposed to have, like, an open forum to air your grievances. Whatever it is that you need, you should be able to talk to your partner about those things. The fact that you're just sitting here, like, just eating shit, this isn't healthy at all.
Receiving being like, well, I deserve this, and I'm giving being like, you deserve this. So there's that exchange happening.
So you speak on, you're like, you tell him the things that you need?
Yeah.
And the things that you feel like you deserve, you'll say that?
100%.
How will you say that?
I need you to step up in these areas. I need to not worry about this. I need to be able to take my brain off this thing. I need more affection. I need more love. If we're going to be sexual, here's the things that I need to like feel more sexual. And in return, I invite that. Like, so we have a lot of conversations.
How does he receive it well?
I think everybody has a problem with being told that they're not doing enough, because we always go to like, well, I'm already doing X, Y, and Z. Right. So I think that there can be, I wouldn't say that he's.
See, Shan, I feel like, is more aware of the fact that that partner is there for a reason. They're there to amplify the experience and help you in life. We're supposed to do that for each other. It's not just, I'm doing for you and that's it. That it's odd that she doesn't like, she doesn't understand how people take criticism because she doesn't present it to her partner herself. So she's like, does your partner take it well? And Shan's like, I mean, most people don't take criticism well, but it's good to have this open line of communication, you know? Wow, that's wild.
Doing X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So I think that there can be, I wouldn't say that he's always arms wide open, but he always adjusts. But so I guess when I'm listening to your relationship style, I'm like, if we kind of broke it down into like to-dos specifically, like what does a submissive woman do for her man?
Everything.
What does that mean?
You know, like packing his bag, unpacking his bag.
Homie can't pack his own bag. Tú me vas a decir a mí that a grown man can't pack his own bag? I understand submission, but there's just basic tasks that you as a man or a woman should be able to do for yourself. Why am I here doing it for you?
Just making sure all the things that he wants, and like I pretty much read his mind. So it's like, if I know you and I study you, like I know how you are in the morning, I know how you are about midday, I know when you're in this mood, what you need. Like before you can ever ask me for something, I'm already on it. I mean, he's spoiled.
See, that may be great for the person who's receiving all of that. It feels amazing to be loved. Who doesn't want to be loved on like that? But I feel like she should receive it as well. You know, it should come and go. You give it, you know, it's not you do it to get. It's, I love you, I appreciate you, I treat you this way. I kind of expect some return. Not like it's transactional, but do it because you desire to, not because you want to serve. Like, you know, I read his mind before he does something. I'm doing it before he does it. I've done that in relationships, and it makes me feel good to pass someone the remote when they're reaching for it and I see them doing it and I grab it and hand it to them first. Those things make someone feel good. But if you're just going through life looking for those little like dopamine hits, it just doesn't feel sustainable. But that's my opinion. I'm really judging the shit out of her.
And you know, when I talk to my girlfriends about it, they're always like, oh, how you guys doing? And I'm just like, girl, he's rotten. I'm like, he's spoiled rotten. Like, he's rotten. But I love that. Like, I want him to be there. I think my biggest flex is how I treat my man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And my biggest flex should be how I treat myself, which is, so it's kind of fucked up. It's kind of messed up.
What are you getting from?
She said it. She's saying it. She's aware. She's aware that, but she's still doing it. That's what is crazy to me.
Like, I want him to be there. I think my biggest flex is how I treat my man. You know what I mean? And my biggest flex should be how I treat myself, which is, so it's kind of fucked up. It's kind of messed up.
What are you getting from all that you're giving? What are you asking for in return?
You know what's interesting, and you saw my reaction when I was like, you say that? You asked for that? You know what I mean? I think that I have gotten better at saying the things that I need, but if I don't get it the first time, I don't like to say it again.
Oh,
so would you do what you're doing for a broke dude?
No. That's that fear of rejection, boo. And you can't go through life like that. You can't do that. She said, that if she asks for something one time and she doesn't get it, she's just not gonna ask a second time. And that shows me that you're just willing to take whatever treatment is given, but like, what about the lack of effort? You have to account for that.
What do you call broke?
Requires your financial support as well.
No. I mean,
That's
I
the
think
condition.
to be broke.
She found the condition. It's money. So she definitely would not act this way for a guy who doesn't have money. So that's interesting. That's interesting.
You can be
Still a great lover, still very romantic, still very emotionally supportive. But I'm just like asking about,
I wouldn't even know that. I wouldn't even know that he's all those things. Because I think there's a lot of people.
You wouldn't even know that because you wouldn't look past the fact that he has no money. You're self-reporting so hard, Jazzy.
People who are financially stable, who are broke-minded, and I can't get down with that either.
So let me just clarify the question. What are the requirements from a man to bring to Jazzy in order to get this level of love from you?
I think it's how you make me feel. I have to feel safe with you emotionally. You have to excite me. I need edge. So all this cute, soft shit that I need him to be emotionally this, I do need that. But I also need some edge. And I also need a man that is like, you know, like I am a submissive. So like, in a way, my love language in sex is like, I like for you to tell me what to do. So sometimes it's like, Jazz, sit your ass down somewhere. It's like, oh shit. What'd I do? Let me sit down, you know? But it's like someone who is a very, you know, you can be emotional and be soft and things like that, but I still need you to have a little sprinkle of that edge.
Do you need an alpha male?
Yes, only. And you know,
alpha males only. I see where you're going with this.
and I think men are confused on if they are or not. And if you are confused, you're not one.
What is an alpha man?
I think in my experience of an alpha male, it is somebody who is respected, you know, walks in the room and everybody just kind of like feels their presence.
Some people can interpret submissiveness as like anything goes, like I'll put up with anything.
No way. I mean, like,
Please tell me what your limits are, because right now I'm like, I don't know what they are.
think anything goes for sure if you're comfortable with the person. Because I'm doing shit I never did before. I'm just like, I would have never done this, but you know what? I'm comfortable with this person and I feel safe.
Do you have an example?
Anal. You're like, have an example? Yeah, that.
Do you do it for you or do you do it for them?
I do it for him because for me, I'm not at a place where I like it yet. We had one successful time where I was like, okay, you know, my butt creamed. It was like, oh shit, like it was like creaming. I don't know what the fuck that was, but it was like, it was weird.
Yeah, I don't know the science of that in particular because your butt doesn't lubricate in that way. You could shit on the person.
So it was booty juice. It wasn't though.
It was clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fast. I'll have to get back to you on that. But then does anal become an act of submission because you're letting your partner do something to you that doesn't necessarily feel good for you, but you know that it feels good and maybe powerful for them?
I think it feels more powerful for them than it feels good because you're getting nowhere. It hurts. It's like, okay.
Girl, you have that thought, but you still participate in it? I'm so confused. Like, if there's no pleasure in it and you don't feel like it's anything but them exerting their power on you, why would you do it? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, you can do it if you enjoy it and you take pleasure in the act, but I've never heard that experience before. Am I crazy?
Like, if he wants to,
But he can still orgasm from it.
I think it's just the butt is just so tight and so untouched, and I think it's the fact that nobody's been in there but him is like the power of that. Like, that's my asshole. Like, ain't nobody been in that shit but me. That shit's mine.
Do you get pleasure because you're giving him an experience?
No, I actually like a finger in the butt.
No, from like anal in particular.
Oh,
Like, what's the incentive for you to do it if you're like, it's not my favorite thing, but I do it because X?
I think I just do it because he wants it. And I think like when you come to
You think you just do it because he wants it? I'm sorry, this is just, it's giving me like red alarms, like red flags. Like, this is not, no. Like, personally, I don't participate in things that are only so that person can get off. If I'm not enjoying it, why are we doing it? It's not. There has to be some level of you that's enjoying it in order for my brain to make sense of you being in that act. If you know what I'm saying? It feels odd for me to say, oh, I'm going to do something only because you're gonna have fun with it, and even if I'm gonna suffer, I don't care. It's just for you. Maybe I'm not that selfless. I don't know, but that disturbs me.
to me in a space where it's like you're very masculine and it's just like, give me that ass, or however you say it to me, and you're like, ooh, like I like that shit. Like, tell me what the fuck to do. Tell me what to do. I like to be told what to do. You know,
even
what I mean?
if the thing that they want you to do,
I don't want to do it. Yeah, that's traumatic too.
You see, that right there just confirmed it, because she was like, yeah, even if I don't want to do it, yeah, that's really uncomfortable and brings me to some trauma parts of my brain.
Fuck to do. Tell me what to do. I like to be told what to do. You know what
even
I mean?
if the thing that they want you to do,
I don't want to do it. Yeah, that's traumatic too. I don't know, but like, because it's him, I trust him.
I guess because we have all these, like, and I hear when you're talking to, like, you're listening to how it sounds, then reflecting on how it feels for you.
Yeah.
Because the feeling might be, that's my truth.
Yeah.
It might sound a certain way, but also too, we're talking about your relationship in a very specific, narrow lens. Mm-hmm. We're not talking to him, one.
Yeah.
And two, we're not talking about the full breadth of things. So when things are multi-dimensional, multi-tiered, it makes sense within it. But we're talking.
I'm very worried about what this conversation would sound like if he was present, to be honest with you.
But it siloed off, so you're like, oh, I want to soften it. But the real truth might be, like, I do whatever he wants me to do, as long as he asks me in a way that makes me feel like a dirty bitch.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's your truth, but.
Right, no, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, I do whatever he asks me to do and say whatever he wants me to say in that moment. But
Which, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with, saying things in the bedroom when it's prompted upon you and you're like, yeah, I like this in this moment. We're gonna do it. There's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like it's a little weird when it bleeds into life. I don't know.
Love that. That's like my shit.
That's your kink.
Yeah. I feel comfortable enough. And then just even like, just to even take it there, I come from a traumatic
Sexual past.
Yeah. Where like it's very sensitive for me because like the shit that was done to me in my past, but like I'm comfortable enough with you to let you do that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's just a level of trust for me. And it's interesting that I'm even saying this because I don't think I've ever really talked about this. But for me to not hate men after all the things that I've been through, like in my life, and for me to still love again is a really big deal for me. For me to even be up here with you and talk like this and speak so candidly about how I'm such a servant when like all my life I've just known people to take from me and I still want to give. It's very interesting. But
it is very interesting, but it's also very uncomfortable when you mention that is something that you've done in your past, and people have taken and taken and taken from you, and you still continue to give. I can relate to that. I'm someone who gives way too much in relationships and has seen bad results because of it. But the point here is that she didn't learn or uncover all of that trauma. So now she just continues to do it, but she has packaged it in such a way that it's not how it was in the past. And that's a little uncomfortable.
Just known people to take from me, and I still want to give. It's very interesting. But
You look like you're getting misty-eyed. Is it misty-eyed? But not in a, is it, I want to ask if that's coming from the pain of the trauma or the joy of the self-acceptance that you have despite the trauma.
I think a little bit of both. And I saw my abuser like not too long ago out when I was out. And I know that I saw him on another occasion years ago, and he was like, Jazz, you know, I'm just really sorry for all the things that I done to you. And I was just like, okay. And but you
Is this an ex-partner?
I thought he was, but he wasn't. Like, so in my mind, I'm thinking he's like, I've always liked older men because my dad, you know what I mean? Like my dad, so let me paint this picture for you.
Oh, no.
My parents are both the black sheep of their family, right? So they both dealt with a lot of trauma on both sides of their family. So when they came together, they bonded over the fact that like they can relate to each other and they're not alone in the situations that they felt. So when they had us, my dad doesn't come from a place of love. He comes from survival. But I think I blamed him for that for so long. And
I can relate so hard to her upbringing. That, wow.
like, I love my father, you know, because I understand him now. You just didn't have that, you know, and I can't, and I remember blaming him for so long for that, for what I didn't have, but he didn't have it to give because he was never shown that. That was not the environment that he grew up in.
But your mom showed it, though.
My mom showed it. So yes, you do have a choice, but my mom is also just a tender person, and I think that my dad was just genuinely not like that, which is fine.
So when you got older, you're like, I still want the
Yes.
strength and the alphaness that my dad had, but I also want him to have the tenderness that my dad lacked.
Yeah, so me being a young girl, I'm looking for older men. Like, I'm like, I just liked older guys. So I ended up dating a guy who was older than me. And, you know, he sees me as this, like, young, naive, fun girl, whatever. And he basically just, like, you know, I thought he was my boyfriend. I was underage. And he wasn't my boyfriend. He was just somebody. He was just a really bad person.
Did you go the opposite way? Because it sounds like in that relationship you were submissive, but
Yeah.
taken advantage of, manipulated.
Yes.
So after that, did you go the opposite way of becoming more dominant and then reclaiming the submissive, or you've just always been this way?
I always like just wanted someone to fix it, wanted someone to make it right. I just wanted.
No, Jazzy, no. Don't ever say you're looking for someone to fix you or fix it, whatever it is in you. That's not gonna happen. And I can promise you that, because I have looked for people to fill voids in my life where there was nothing, and that is the worst thing that you can ever do, because you're setting yourself up for some bullshit. I promise you that. You need to work on yourself and figure out whatever it is that is causing you to recreate these relationships. That's really what's happening, because wow.
So after that, did you go the opposite way of becoming more dominant and then reclaiming the submissiveness, or you've just always been this way?
I always like just wanted someone to fix it, wanted someone to make it right. I just wanted, you know, I just wanted love all my life.
We all do.
So when I think that when I wasn't finding the love, or I wasn't getting the love that I wanted, I decided to just give it. And I've been known to love people back to health. And sometimes it's very draining, but my love is my superpower. And I used to hate that about myself. But now it's like, I'm just embracing it. Like, that's who I am. Like, if
I can relate to this because I'm someone who gives a lot, like I said. And I do think that there is a healing element to loving someone the way that you do. But this is nuts. You're pouring your water into someone else's cup, and then you're empty and wondering why.
I love you. I can heal you.
But I guess it's interesting about your story is because it's like the core value system of I live to love others seems like it never went away. So what's different then? I guess because it could be interpreted that submissiveness comes out of a place of feeling like you have to prove your worthiness to be loved by someone.
I did that.
But you don't do that anymore.
No. What's different now is I know my worth. Once my career started taking off and other women were able to relate to me from like just being organic and unapologetic, it gave me permission to be like, you know what? I don't need, I did pop my shit for a long time for like, with the whole like, I don't need nobody. And that felt really good. But then until it didn't, where I was like, you know what? I don't, but I do want someone, you know? So now it's like, I don't need, and I think there might still be a part of me that wants to be seen as worthy to someone. My mom, when things were getting serious with us, she said, Jazz, my mom's from Trinidad by way of St. Vincent, and she's like, oh, Jazz, I see you guys are getting serious. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm good for him. And she said, oh, Jazz, you're good for anybody. And I was like, damn. And I told him that, and he was like, you are. Like, you're just...
What does that damn mean for you? Like, damn, I never thought of it that way. Damn, that's true.
Damn, I never thought about it that way, because the treatment that you get is who I am. And it's just, I see where you need it, but I'm going to be like this anyway. You know what I mean? Where some people change for people. I don't change for people. I think I adjust to their needs, but everything that I do is out of love anyways. So it always finds space,
Because I would think the art of submission, it is an art. And like anything else, like if you think of contemporary art, right? It's free flowing, it is intuitive.
Where you need it, but I'm going to be like this anyway. You know what I mean? Where some people change for people. I don't change for people. I think I adjust to their needs, but everything that I do is out of love anyways. So it always finds space,
Because I would think the art of submission, it is an art. And like anything else, like if you think of contemporary art, right? It's free flowing, it is intuitive, but if it becomes chaotic, then it's no longer beautiful. So I think with submissiveness, there is that line there of like knowing what your values are, knowing what your role in the relationship is, being joyful about it, 'cause that's also a big part of it too.
Yeah.
But I would assume that there is a line where it can get dangerous and chaotic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, like as a submissive person, what do you have to be mindful of to ensure you're not being taken advantage of?
That is a great question, because if you're not mindful of how someone is acting with you when you're just giving, you're just going to allow them to run scot-free, and you're not ever going to receive anything in return, and that's not healthy.
I think when you notice like a flag, I think you should speak on it. Like, hey, or if it bothers you, if something bothers you, you should talk about it. And I love the relationship that you have with your husband, because you say you guys talk about, and we do too.
I have the opposite problem.
Really?
I have to put in a very strict shut the fuck up Shan filter, because I will talk too much.
Really?
So
Yeah,
I will complain, I will correct. Like, so I have the opposite thing where I have to be like, not forcing myself to speak up, but like making myself like, okay, you
Reining herself in, essentially.
don't have to say that. And it sounds like you're coming from the different perspective where advocating for yourself is the thing that you have to be more mindful of.
Yeah, because I'm the type of person where I don't want you to hurt. I rather hurt, because I've dealt with hurt and I know how to deal with hurt. But
That's fucking unhealthy, Jazz. My God.
I don't want you. If I love you, I don't want you to feel that. I'll feel that because I know that.
It's fascinating because I feel the opposite.
Wow, I love that.
I feel the opposite because
I love
sometimes too,
that.
especially when it comes like if someone does something that bothers me, it's like I would rather communicate that you bothered me than I continue to like argue with myself about how I'm bothered.
But for me, I think
Yes.
I pick and choose my battles. A battle is not always worth fighting if I know your heart. Because I can have the conversation with myself and pretend like I'm having it with you and know what you're going to say.
But you can't take that conversation, like the choice of the conversation, away from them by playing advocate for them at every shot. Like, you're basically having a relationship with yourself at that point. Like, do you not get that?
And then if I know what you're going to say, then I just won't have it. Because it's like, he's going to say this, or he's going to, he's going to feel like he didn't mean it like that. So I go through the motions, but if it is very gray, then I'll have that conversation, because sometimes like he would,
Is that new for you?
yes. Yeah. I think and I watch my mom eat a lot of shit too. And I think that in a lot of ways that like my mom, the things that frustrate me about my mom, and I love her to death, like I find myself being that way too. Ugh. But it's like, so it's very interesting.
I do think that these are learned behaviors because I think I used to do something similar. And those are things that you learn from the relationships that you see growing up. My mom also took a lot of shit. But that doesn't mean that because you saw her do it, it doesn't mean that you have to do it as well or take it. I don't think that's fair.
Because it's like my mom will call me and I'm like, Mama, you just gotta be like this. You just gotta say this. You gotta be like this. But then me in my romantic life, it's like, ooh, I'm more like my mom than I thought I was.
Yeah.
I come from a Caribbean household too, and it's interesting because I never liked that about the culture, that it's so boys first.
It is.
And I like a lot of aunts or my grandma, like they prioritize boys when they aren't necessarily more special.
Right. Y'all not doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's why you're so outspoken now?
Like my dad is very dominant and very alpha and very like, I need to leave a lasting impression. And instead of me looking for a man who was like that, I wanted to be like that. So it's similar to,
I love that.
That's
because you
interesting.
had a dad who had these qualities and like
Yeah.
you were looking for qualities like your dad so that you could be like your mom.
That was good.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it's true though. So for you to say that you wanted to be more like your dad, that's interesting to me because a woman isn't supposed to be soft and delicate or whatever the hell. But if you're just not that, not to say you're not, but if you're not that, then you're not that.
No, I'm not that.
Right.
I know that about myself.
But
like,
do you think that it takes a certain, because different people bring out different sides of you. Do you think that just,
I don't think it'd be possible for me. I think even when I was listening to you talk about like you wanting a man to like who's got that respect level, a man who like, is that leadership role. My entire life, I cannot do people talking down to me. So I don't do well with authority. So I had bad relationships with teachers, bad relationships with coaches, and even my parents. Like there had to be like the equalness, the egalitarianness. And I also can't stand people talking up to me. So if you're like, oh, you're so great, oh, you're so amazing, I'm like,
really?
so like
But I think
can't.
that about you.
But if you,
I totally understand where Shan is coming from. Don't talk down to me. Don't talk up to me. Can we please just talk like we're humans? I feel you.
I guess if we talk for a long period of time and
Right,
I got
okay.
that energy from you consistently, I would definitely be like, I'm enough with you. If we're hanging out all the time and you're like, you're so cool, you're so interesting, I love you so much, and then if I'm not doing that back to you,
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is everything has to be here eye to eye.
Everything has to
So
be
I
equal.
think that in my life, I don't know. I definitely don't want a man who's submissive because I think that I have the personality type where I would take advantage of that person and eventually take them for granted. And I also don't want somebody who's more dominant than me because I have a problem with authority and I would have constant fights with them. So I know that about myself where I like need that, but you know about yourself in that your dynamic is different. So I'm like,
Interesting.
is the goal to acknowledge that you're one way or the other, because in me acknowledging I'm very dominant, I know where I have to soften up. And in you acknowledging where you're submissive, you know where you have to get more assertive and aggressive.
Yeah.
So is the joyful place for everyone to get to the middle, or no?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I want to get to the middle. I think that, and this goes to me studying my person. I have a A+ in his studies because I just know him, you know. And then it's
Does
like,
he have an A+ in you?
I think so.
I'm sorry, I'm cringing so hard at that. Oh my god. Does he have an A+ in you? And the way she's just like,
I think so. I mean, I think I make it easier for a man to be with me because they don't have to do much. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's not a good thing. Jazzy, that's not a good thing, baby girl. You know how complacency kills a relationship? That's that.
yeah, you know what? Yeah, he does. He does.
Very last question, I promise.
Okay.
In this relationship, in this dynamic of relationships,
Yes.
is it 50-50? Is it 20-80? A joyful 20-80? What's the percentage?
Ooh. I think that I keep it afloat. Personally,
You didn't answer my question.
I don't know the numbers.
That might be part of the art of submission, though, because I think I often get accused in relationships of being transactional. So numbers are in mind for me a lot.
Yeah, no, not
Maybe
me.
for a submissive person, it doesn't even occur to them.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I'm gonna give what's in my heart, and if I get nothing back, I'm okay.
I'm not okay with that. I'm sorry, no. Nope. We gotta be flowering each other. Like, we gotta be watering each other's plants. Like, this is no. And I learned that from past experiences where I would be the person just giving, and I would receive nothing, and I would be content with that. Never again. That's how you lose yourself. You're just... This isn't healthy. I will say that, because I've been in situations where I've just given because I feel like they deserve that and I deserve that because I deserve love. But you should never give and receive nothing back. That's just not how relationships work.
Because I know that I did it with a pure heart.
Is the art of submission lost?
In who? Just
In
overall?
mainstream culture?
Yes. You know why? And I think it's because men don't make women feel safe to be that. Some men will say, oh, women are too this, they're too that. But it's like, actually, you're just not giving me that king-like energy that makes me want to submit to you. Because I think all women have that in them. It's just, except for you. You said it's not you. You said you made it clear it is not you. What is that? Not the but I love that you know that about yourself.
It's not about transactions, because it's not like you're doing something and then you keep a count in your head and be like, hey, I've done the dishes 5 times this week. I expect you to do the dishes 5 times as well. No, that's not at all how it is. I consider it as, we both put effort into the relationship. We pick up the slack where we can, and when we can't, the other person is there to help pick up that slack. But you're never gonna see me like keeping score or keeping count. That's stupid and childish. Adults help each other. Like, that's just what it is.
I do.
But it's so funny because you're saying this and I'm just like, that's everything that I am not. But I love that for you though.
And I love this for you.
Yeah.
I do.
And this is how we meet in the middle.
I don't know if I love that for her, but
Shout out to
I think that's it. Like, I know there's more. I think that she talks further on this with other people and their opinions on submission, but I think I'm all set. I've got all that I needed from this. This was so cringy. I just wow. I never thought that someone else's idea of what being in a submissive relationship sounded like would trigger me this hard, but I think I realized that in the past I tried to embody these expectations placed on people to be submissive from learning from my parents. And when I realized that it was no longer serving me, I stopped acting that way. But it seems like she just goes through the motions and continues the pattern until she finds the right person, and I don't know. It's a little uncomfy for me. But yeah, that's my take on this. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree, if you hated this, whatever. Give me a like, give me a dislike, do your thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.